Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The Hilton sale is on. Now through September 29th, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Long weekends, last-minute getaways, holiday gatherings. There's a Hilton stay for all of them. More moments, more experiences, more destinations. Now 20% off for a limited time because it matters where you stay. Don't wait. Book by September 29th and save up to 20% at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Having It All podcast. I am Matthew Bivens, your host, balanced lifestyle coach, transformation specialist, and all-around enthusiastic fella about having it all, an abundant, loving life. And that's the conversation that you have come here to tune into and to be a part of. Because that's what we talk about on the show. We talk about what it looks like and feels like to have it all. So I am so excited you are here with me, and today's episode is a great one. It is the third part of a series that I've been doing where I'm answering your questions. Yes, you submitted a bunch of questions and topics for me several weeks ago, and over the last several episodes, I have been answering them and providing some thoughts and some things for you to chew on. And I've already talked about all the questions pertaining to self, and then the second episode, I talked about the questions pertaining to others. And in this episode, these are all of your questions and topic suggestions pertaining to life. So we're going to talk about business stuff in this one. We're going to talk about burnout, how to avoid burning out when you're striving for goals. And we're going to talk a little bit about podcasting and video blogging and all sorts of cool stuff. So I'm excited about this. I really love talking about these topics. So this is going to be great. Let's kick things off with some magic. Yes, magic is one of the reasons why you tune in, because you want to create and experience many more magical moments in your life. And magic, if you remember, that's when you influence yourself, others, or life in an empowering way. It's when you influence self, others, and life in an empowering way. And you know what? You are creating magic all the time. You are. However, if you aren't stopping and pausing and reflecting and remembering and acknowledging your magic, then you're missing it. And that's what we don't want. I don't want you to miss the magic, because if you walk around feeling frustrated because you don't feel like you have it all, I can almost guarantee part of that is that you're not reflecting on your magic. You're letting it go by. And so the reason why I share my magic in every episode is so that you can hear what examples of magic look like, and so that you can be inspired to just pause the episode when I'm complete, and you can think of your own magical moments. So my magic today has to do with others, because I like to share self magic or others magic or life magic. And today it's about others. And yesterday I received a text message from a great friend of mine. His name is Robert. And Robert and I have known each other for, maybe 3-4 years. And we met through the playground, the Your Day Gym playground here in Atlanta, that I host my play camps on every Tuesday night. And Robert started coming around, and he started coming to play camp. And he's been showing up consistently every week for as long as I've known him. Again, maybe like 2, 3, 4 years. And so yesterday, Robert sent me a text message. It was a photo of him. And he said, he sends this picture, and the comment is, "Look how heavy I was before I started working out with you." And it's incredible. If you know Robert, if you've been to play camp and you've met him, like, this man has transformed. completely transformed over the last several years. And when the photo that he sent me, he was at 305 pounds. And now he's down to 235. And what's really incredible is, showing up at these play camps, going through the exercises, they've had a physical impact on his body, right? He's lost all that weight. His energy's gone up. His strength has gone up. He's feeling more like his youthful self when he was he played football and ran track and did all that stuff. And so those are the transformations that you can see. However, the transformations that you can't see, the ones that are happening internally, the ones that are happening in his mind and his heart, those are the truly amazing, huge, magical transformations. And so that's one of the things that I love about the work that I do. It's like part of the consequence of working on your consciousness and working on your lifestyle is that your fitness is going to be impacted. And that's what happened with Robert. He's been showing up for 3 years, and we've been getting into conscious conversations about his awareness of his relationship to self, others, and life. And as a result of those conscious conversations, he's been able to let go of a lot of things that have been holding him down, weighing him down, and weighing on his body, like showing up in his body. And so sure, the workouts have helped him to drop that weight, but so much of it has been due to the fact of those conscious conversations that he's been surrounding himself with for the past 3+ years. And so it's so magical to me when I receive a text like that from Robert, and I'm going to see him later on today, and it's just going to be great to get into those conversations with him once again, because so many things are impacted. I mean, the time that Robert has been coming to play camp and we've known each other, we've been working together, he's shifted up his lifestyle. He's been meat-free for over a year. That was a choice that he felt inspired to make, and he's been loving the results. He wrote a book. He wrote a book of letters to his father. His father passed when he was younger, and so he wanted to write a book where he wrote his father a letter every day for 1 year. So for 365 days, no matter what was going on, Robert sat down and wrote a letter to his late father, and he put it all together in a book. Amazing. And I've watched this man just expand his entrepreneurial self and start all these different ventures and just really be very proactive, right? And go after it and pursue different things. And I've seen him influence his wife and influence his daughters and influence coworkers, people who are now going to the gym at their office and who are now eating clean and who are now drinking water, all because of the influence that this man has had. And so that's my magic today. Robert, if you're listening, man, you are my magic today, and I've been so inspired to watch you and just play by your side. So, I love this stuff. I love this work that I do. It's the coolest. It's the coolest. So that's my magic. And right now, I recommend that you pause the episode. Pause this right now so you can reflect on magic that you've created. Right? Where have you influenced yourself, another person, or life itself in an empowering way? So go ahead and pause. And then we'll jump over into some listener love. And I got some great listener love this week to share. A couple of weeks ago, I think I say this in all my listener love segments. It's, reach out to me if you guys have feedback. And so today's listener love goes to Sasha. And Sasha, I appreciate you shooting me a message on Instagram. And not just to tell me, the impact that one of my episodes has had on you, but to also give me feedback on the show. And that's what I'm very grateful to you for. And that's really what I want to give you that shout out, because you gave me some feedback about how I deliver my message, and it's like I appreciate it so much because I don't know, I don't know if my style is working for everybody or if there's things like my areas of improvement, and that's really what it was. It's like I'm so open to improve and step my game up, and so Sasha, I appreciate you giving me some feedback that I can incorporate to step my game up and to improve. So thank you so much, Sasha, for listening to the show. You've been awesome in the Trust Challenge Facebook group. It's been cool seeing you drop your posts in there. And so it was really awesome to be able to engage with you on Instagram as well. So Sasha, today's listener love goes out to you. And if you want to be like Sasha and connect with me, give me some feedback, help me step my podcast host game up, or if you want to make a suggestion for a topic or ask me a question, if you want, whatever it is, you want to connect, let's do it. Matthew_Bivens on Instagram. You go direct into my Instagram DM box, and I would love to connect with you there. You can also hit me up on my email, mattcbivens@gmail.com. Let's do it. Let's connect. And finally, before we jump into the episode, I just feel inspired to go back to what I was talking about with my magic with Robert, and just mention, like the work that I end up doing with folks when we work one-on-one, or if you engage in the course, it's just, it's so beautiful because it really hits in those underlying aspects of your character that are contributing to everything you're experiencing in your life right now. And that's one of the coolest things I saw with Robert. He could have gone anywhere to go and drop weight. And he might have dropped weight even faster if he went somewhere else. But Robert was so clear that what he was challenged with was beyond weight. Because when you've got that extra weight that you're holding on, that's just simply stuck energy. That's all that is. It's just energy that's stuck. And so if you're not addressing the underlying reason why the energy is stuck, guess what? It might go away for a little bit, but it might come back. And even if it does go away, you may not love yourself to a deeper degree, right? You may not accept yourself to a deeper degree. You may not judge yourself any less. And so I love the work that I do as a balanced lifestyle coach and transformation specialist, because we really dig into what's truly going on the inside. And it's like a scalpel, like we get that scalpel out and we cut and we go right to what the heart of it is. And we don't mess around with any of that surface stuff. I'm not going to talk to you about any diet stuff. I'm not going to talk to you about exercise right off the bat, because those are all the things that are more on the surface. I want to get down into your internal story. What's your internal conversation about yourself? What's your internal conversation about other people? And what paradigms and perspective do you have on life that are influencing and creating what's showing up in your life today? That's what we're going to talk about. And so right now I have a couple of coaching spots open, and I've received a number of applicants. And so I want to let you know, if you're interested, if something is stirring within you, reach out. Go to MatthewBivens.com, click the Work With Me tab, and just fill out the application. Or if you just have some questions and you want to ask me questions, hit me up. mattcbivens@gmail.com goes right to my inbox. That's my personal email address. You can also do it on Instagram, Matthew_Bivens. Let's get into a conversation, because you know what? If you're just focusing on those diet things, if you're just focusing on exercise, that's just a surface level. It's not going to change how you truly feel about you unless you're really, really addressing those internal conversations, right? And that's why Robert comes and plays at Play Camp every week, right? That's why people reach out to me and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who can coach my business clients, because my business clients are out here shooting for those 6 and 7 figures, and when they get it, they recognize they're no more happier than when they had nothing. It's because it's so deeper. It's not about the money you have. It's not about your weight. It's not about any of that stuff. Those internal conversations, right? What's really going on in your heart, that is what's going to have you say without a doubt that you experience an abundant, loving life, or you don't. And so that's the work that I do. That's the work that I'm so inspired to do each and every day. And so if you feel inspired, let's connect, let's talk, and see if there's magic in us working one-on-one. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Once again, we're talking about life. Yes, I'm answering your questions, your topics, addressing what you want me to talk about as it pertains to life. And so today we're going to talk about, like I said earlier, I have 3 different questions from you all, and they're talking about burnout. We're talking about business plans and goals, and we're talking about how to start a vlog, a video blog. And this is going to be awesome. So let's just jump right into this. The first one comes from Zach. And Zach writes, when reaching new goals and striving to be truly great, what steps can we take to keep the bar, quote unquote, in check? I have found myself reaching huge goals and then sometimes feeling that I have to do even more. Working on giving myself permission to relax and know that it's actually all okay. I'm very type A, so I'm always go, go, go. What do you do to relax and let yourself disconnect? Great question, Zach. I love it. First thing that comes to my mind is I think about what your bigger why is. The reason behind that go, go, go. And I want you to ask yourself, does your bigger why contribute to your health? Meaning, does achieving your dreams, those goals that you're going after, does achieving those goals raise or lower your health? I already have an idea right now that as you achieve your goals, as you are in alignment with your current why, it's not impacting your health in an empowering way. It's not healing you, because you're talking about feeling burnt out, feeling like you got to do even more, and not relaxing. So if what you're playing for right now lowers your health, then look at what you're playing for and make some adjustments. You know what I mean? Like I think about my personal mission statement, and the way that I wrote my personal mission statement, it's specifically crafted so that when I'm in alignment with my mission statement, I am contributing to others while also refilling my tank. Because here's what I'm hearing in your question, Zach, that right now you do not have balance between your P and your PC, between your performance and your performance capacity. Your performance is all the stuff. It's the go, 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 right? It's the goals that you're hitting. It's all those big achievements. That's your P. It's your business revenue. We've talked a little bit about business before. So it's the expansion of your business. That's the P. Your PC is your capacity, your performance capacity, your ability to do those things in a sustainable way. And there's a principle that it sounds like you are not in alignment with right now. The principle is the P-PC balance is the precursor to longevity. That means in order for you to go long in life, right, to live long and to live long with a pep in your step and to have health late into your life, triple digits, in order for that to happen, you have to have PPC balance. It's the precursor to you going long and you going far. That's a principle. If you don't have balance between your performance and your performance capacity, you just won't go far. You'll burn out, right? It's like driving a car fast down the highway. You get your pedal to the metal and you're going and you're gunning it and you're moving and it feels great, but you aren't stopping to refill that tank and to change your oil and to put new brake pads on it. You're not going to go very far. You might go fast, but you won't go far. So that's what I'm hearing right now, Zach, in your question. And now here's the thing, like type A, you know what? It's awesome to be driven. It is. It's awesome to have goals and to play for them and to accomplish them, right? And to be focused like that and to be motivated. All of that stuff is awesome. But you have to make sure that you've built into your lifestyle ways to refill your tank. You have to. Otherwise, a couple things can happen. You will end up burning out. The car is going to break down. Or you're going to go and you're going to push it so hard, right? And you're going to accomplish those goals. And then once you accomplish those goals, you'll look back and you'll look at, who you became in the process. And those goals aren't going to mean anything. Because, in the course of achieving that goal, your health went to crap. Your relationships went to crap. You lost your sense of self. And that's what happens a lot. That's what happens with the type A high achiever, right? And so that's something that for you to look at as well. And so, the solution, a solution to this is, first of all, internally, for you to connect with that principle. The PPC balance is the precursor to longevity. You have to connect with that principle. You have to understand that right now, your P is high and your PC is not matching it, right? So you're not able to sustain the life that you're living. You're doing big things, and that's great. But your capacity to handle them in a healthy way is just not up. So you have to connect with that principle before you actually do anything else. Because if you don't have that internal connection, if that paradigm doesn't shift for you, then you can add all sorts of different habits. You can, have a streak of meditation, and you can be making sure that you're getting enough sleep and all that stuff. But eventually when a new opportunity presents itself, when a business expansion opportunity presents itself, or when the shit hits the fan and things just get chaotic, what do you think is the first stuff to go? Those PC habits. You're just going to drop them by the wayside because it hasn't really, your paradigm around it hasn't shifted. So the first thing to do is to really connect with the P-PC balance and recognize that your P is high and your PC is low. That's the first thing. Then I recommend you start building the habits. Build those PC habits, right? Those are the habits of about refilling your tank. It's not about the other people. It's not about what you're trying to accomplish in business. It's about you and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. So a place to start with your PC habits are your 5 wheels: mental, spiritual, social, emotional, and physical. I've talked about this in the body vehicle. I've mentioned this before in the podcast, right? Imagine you've got this car, and the car has 4 or 5 wheels or 5 tires. It's got that mental steering wheel in the middle. Then you've got social and spiritual. Those are your front 2 tires. And physical and emotional. Those are your back 2 tires. So Zach, when you think about that for yourself, which of your tires are deflated? Some of them are probably deflated. And if those tires are deflated, like, you can still move forward. The car still will move forward, but it's going to be a bumpy ride, and you're never going to be able to hit full speed. So when it comes to building up your PC habits, think about those 5 areas: mental, spiritual, social, physical, emotional. Which one of those areas have you been neglecting? And start building habits in those areas that you're doing on a daily and weekly basis. And then finally, the third thing is create some accountability around you keeping your PC high. Create accountability structures in your life that are specifically focused on you refilling your tank. Because again, when your P goes into overdrive, when the new business opportunity comes, or when stuff just goes chaotic, you're going to want to drop those PC habits. You're going to want to shed those things that you're like, I gotta trim my life down. So let me get rid of the things that I'm not feeling immediate impact from, so that you can focus everything on P. So if you have those accountability structures in place, you won't do that, or at least it won't be as easy for you to do that. So accountability structures might be, having a coach or somebody who works with you to keep you accountable, or joining some sort of mastermind where you can, share your what your intention is in your PC, or using some sort of app or some sort of program to track those numbers. Put some things in place, because you probably have mechanisms to keep your P accountable, but you also got to do that in your PC. And then the final thing I'll say to you, Zach, is also, how are you defining success? It goes back to this first thing about, that why, and is your why contributing to your health? Is your definition of success contributing to your health? Like, when you achieve success in your mind, do you have to become a greater version of yourself in all areas in order to achieve it? A lot of people have success as money, houses, financial security, all of that stuff. But in order to, achieve those things, a lot of people sacrifice their health and relationships and all the things I've already mentioned. So be thinking about that. And if your current definition of success doesn't have your health, your body vehicle health in mind, then maybe you need to shift up that definition of success. The way I define success is my awareness of who I'm becoming as I achieve great things, right? And so it makes sure that I'm totally aware of the person that I'm becoming as I hit my goals. So, Zach, that's how I would address this question for you. And I appreciate you asking it. It actually connects with the question that somebody else asked, but I think I mentioned in the previous episode about burnout. So I'm going to do a whole episode all about burnout and digging more into this, because so many people are burning themselves out, because they're striving for a type of success. And anyway, so Zach, thank you so much. You're awesome. I appreciate you. The next question comes from Courtney, and this one's all about business plans. So Courtney writes, business plans. What's too much? What's not enough? Must we all go broke to follow our dreams of owning a business? Great question, Courtney. So there's 2 parts to your question that I want to address. The first part is about business plans. And the second part is when you asked, must we all go broke to follow our dreams of owning a business? So first, I'll talk about business plans. You definitely want some sort of business plan. You absolutely do, right? Because that's going to give you a chance to really flesh out what it is that you're looking to create and how you want to go about creating it. So before you jump into any sort of venture, whether it's small or big, you want to have some sort of plan. I mean, I know you've heard the quote, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so have some sort of plan. This goes in alignment with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, begin with the end in mind, right? It's going to help you begin with the end in mind. And it's also about be proactive. So it connects with both those first 2 habits right there. Now, the size of your business plan and the scope of your business plan, that's totally up to you, right? So I can't answer what's too much and what's not enough. What's not enough is not having one. That's for sure. So you might want to start with a simple, like, 1-page business plan. There's a lot of templates out there for a 1-page business plan. And one that I like, and you might want to write this down, it's if you go to Google and you type in Listen Money Matters 1-page business plan. Listen Money Matters, that's the name of a website, and the 1-page business plan. They have a great resource on there, and it's a 1-page business plan template, and it basically just has you fill in all these different, I'll pull it up right now on my computer so I can show it to you. Here we go. It's a simple business plan that has you address 11 different topics, different areas pertaining to your business. So, you'll talk about your audience, you'll look at your different channels of getting your message out, you'll address the problem that your audience has and your solution to that problem. You'll talk about competitors and the revenue, type of revenue that you're looking to create, and your costs, and all sorts of different things in a 1-page plan. That's going to get you started. And then from there, you can expand and make it more robust if you want. I mean, business plans range. I've seen business plans that are, 50, 60, 70, 80 plus pages, and then I've seen some where businesses get launched with a 1-page business plan. So I would start with a 1-pager if you're looking for a place to start. And again, that's Listen Money Matters 1-page business plan. Now, something that, as I was sort of thinking in my mind earlier before jumping on the mic, one of the things that is important to think about when it comes to starting your own business, this idea comes from Michael Gerber's book, E-Myth and the E-Myth Mastery. A lot of people who begin a business, a small business, they have what Michael Gerber, I love the way he phrases this, they are a technician having an entrepreneurial seizure. A technician having an entrepreneurial seizure. And so a technician is somebody who is really great at what they do. Right? Maybe you're really great at baking cakes, or you're really great at doing marketing, like social media marketing, and you're just fed up with baking cakes for somebody else or doing marketing for the agency you work at. And so you're like, you know what? I want to start my own business. And so you're a technician who, in Michael Gerber's terms, has this entrepreneurial seizure where you're like, I got to get out and start my own business. Now, here's the thing. Running a cake business is very different than baking cakes. Running a social media marketing business is very different than being great at social media marketing. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. And so what happens is you'll have this person who's working for somebody else, who's working like 50 hours a week, right? And you're baking cakes for someone else's company, 50 hours a week, and you're like, screw this, I'm done. I'm going to go work for my own self. I'm going to go start my own business. So you go and you open up your own bakery and you start your own business. Well, guess what? Now you're working 60 hours a week. And instead of working for your boss, you're now working for your business. But you're working more. It's like, yeah, you own a business now, but you've got more stress. You end up making less money and you're more burnt out than ever before. And that happens when the technician has an entrepreneurial seizure. When you fail to recognize that just because you're great at baking cakes, that does not mean you're going to be great at owning a cake company, running a cake business. 2 very, very, very different things, 2 very different skill sets. And that was something that, I'm still learning that today, right? Because I did that. I was at a digital agency and I was doing my thing and I was like, you know what? I could do this myself. So I jumped out and started my own thing. And I was like, oh, well, now I got to worry about the marketing and the customer fulfillment. Oh, I got to figure out accounting. And what are these things? W-9s and you know what I mean? It's like all this stuff. I was a technician who had an entrepreneurial seizure. So the only reason why I share that with you, Courtney, is because when you have awareness around that, well, you can mitigate for that, right? You can go into your venture thinking about how you want to scale it and how you want to bring in other people or bring in other resources so that, they are covering the things that you may not be great at so that you can operate in your strengths. And if you're thinking about that, that's that begin with the end in mind type of thinking. If you're thinking about that, like, you know what, I'm not just out here trying to be a technician who's struggling to run a business. I would really want to be an entrepreneur. I want to think entrepreneurially. Then a whole new landscape opens up for you. So I offer that to you. And if this was interesting, this conversation about the technician and the entrepreneur and all that, then totally check out Michael Gerber's books. I just finished reading E-Myth Mastery. It's a great one. And there's an interview that Tim Ferriss does with Michael Gerber where he talks about the entrepreneurial seizure that might be interesting to you. So you can go on Google and you can type in "escaping the entrepreneurial seizure interview with Michael Gerber," and it'll bring you to Tim Ferriss's blog where he interviews him. And it's written, so you can just go and you can read the transcript. And it helps understand, and Michael Gerber paints that picture again of that technician who has the entrepreneurial seizure. So that's how I'm answering the first part of your question, Courtney, about business plans. Now, the second part of your question, I want to dig into as well, because you wrote, "Must we all go broke to follow our dreams of owning a business?" Now, when I read that, the first thing that I say to you is, if you answer that question, no matter how you answer it, it's not going to help you. Because if you answer that, yes, you got to go broke. Okay, well, now you're screwed. And if you answer the question, no, you don't have to go broke, well, then now you're left asking yourself, okay, well, then how? How do I, own my dream business and not go broke? So the nature of your question is not helping you to make any progress. So change the question. Change the question. So a new question you might want to ask yourself is something like, how can I, minimize financial loss or maximize my chances for a smooth transition, right? When I'm leaving my current job to start a new venture? Or what do I need to begin doing today so that I can transition from my primary job in 12 months? Right? And maybe set that goal for yourself. In 12 months, I want to be totally out of the current job I'm at. So what do I need to be doing today to be working on this idea of mine and, saving up money and, maybe beginning the business and start generating new clients and generating revenue in that side business so that in 12 months, I can transition and it can be more of a smooth transition. That's what I would recommend to you, Courtney. Change your question. Because right now, if I were to answer your question, must we all go broke? No matter what I say, doesn't help you. And so if that's how you're thinking, then, every question has an answer. It has to. It's the two sides of a coin. If there's one side of a coin, there has to be another side. So if you ask a question, there has to be an answer. So think about the questions that you're asking so that when you answer it, it actually helps you. It actually moves you forward. So instead of asking, must we all go broke, ask a more powerful question. So think about that for yourself when you're contemplating making your shift, when you're contemplating how you're going to, grow this business of yours or at least plan it out. Think about the types of questions that you're asking and see if that doesn't help you come to answers that can really get things moving for you. So Courtney, thank you so much. I gave you a couple of resources in there, and hopefully those help you out. And keep me posted. I'd love to hear what your business is and just be kept abreast of what you got going on. So thank you, Courtney. All right, this last one comes from O. That's the name we're going with today, O. And it's a simple question, and it's a really, really great one. The question is, how to get started in vlogging. Vlogging, V-L-O-G-G-I-N-G. That's video blogging. So those are the people on YouTube who are doing video blogs. And I love this question because it has all to do with content and creating content and content marketing and all that stuff. And that's a passion of mine. I've been podcasting for a while, and before I did this show, I hosted a business show, and I love creating content. I love it. And I had a YouTube channel in the past, and I've been doing blogging for a while. So that whole world of creating content and getting that content out in front of eyeballs has just always been really, really interesting to me since 2010, when I started in my first post-college job as a quote-unquote viral marketer for a technology startup company. That was my title. I was the viral marketer. And what that meant was that we had zero marketing budget, but I needed to, get us sales. So anything I did, I needed it to go viral. Therefore, I got really great at content marketing, at doing blogs and videos and eventually podcasts. So, this is a great question. And actually, we've been in a conversation on Instagram. And so I shared part of my feedback to you on Instagram, but I'm happy to share it here now on the podcast because I know other people out there, I know you are interested in maybe starting a podcast or potentially starting a YouTube channel, or maybe you want to start a blog. And so you're kind of stuck thinking like, how do I do this? So I'm not going to talk anything technical right now because when it comes to content, content is content, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing it on a podcast or YouTube or on a traditional blog. It's still content, right? So what I'm going to address right now is how to get started in creating content. Now, once you have this stuff down, you can then go and record that content and share it on a podcast platform, or record and share it on YouTube, or record and share it on a blog. But either way, the things that I'm going to share now, they're going to help you if you're interested in getting into any of those things. And then if you are, like let's say you do want to join a podcast, then you can go out and do a little bit of research or reach out to me separately, and I'll give you some ideas and some advice on the technical aspects, right? What equipment you might need, how to edit, how to set up your hosting, all that stuff. That's separate. But for this conversation, I want it to be more applicable to more people. So very first thing that I always recommend is beginning with the end in mind. Yep. Begin with the end in mind. So sit down and think. This is, think about how is your vlog or your blog or your podcast, how is it going to impact your business? How is it going to support your business? How is it going to support your goals? How is it going to support your organization? Like, what's the purpose of it? You really want to think about the end in mind because that's going to influence a lot of things down the road. It'll influence the type of content you make. It'll influence your style, right? If you're trying to do this to support your business, then maybe you want to do an interview show as opposed to a solo show. It'll influence your call to action. That's that little action item that you tell people, in this podcast, I say, connect with me, right? DM me on Instagram, email me. That's a call to action. Or I might say, go and fill out my coaching application. That's a call to action. It's a way to get people to engage in a deeper level. So when you begin with the end in mind and you get really clear as to what the purpose of this thing is, this vlog or this blog or this podcast, then it's going to help influence other things down the road. So first, begin with the end in mind. Then second, I always tell people to start practicing. Start practicing. Start recording videos. Start recording a podcast. Start recording audio. Start writing. Just get started. Because a lot of people get tripped up in that stage. They feel like, no, I don't want to start writing anything. I don't know what to write, yada, yada. It doesn't matter. You got to build in some reps, especially if it's new. And so every single person has a smartphone that's got both a video camera on it as well as an audio recorder. That's all you need just to get started. And now the things that you record on your phone, you're not going to use. So don't even worry about screwing up. You just got to get reps in speaking, Like before I ever did my first podcast, I was like, how the hell am I going to speak on a mic? I've never done that before. And so I had to get started. So I did a bunch of episodes that never aired because I had to stumble my way through them. But you got to get started. So that's the second thing. Just start practicing. Again, it doesn't matter what the topic is. Just get some reps speaking into a camera so that you can get comfortable. The third thing, now, once you begin with the end in mind, now you can think about the style of your content. So if you're doing a vlog, what kind of vlog do you want to do? Or if you're doing a podcast, what kind of podcast? Is it an interview show? Are you doing an interview vlog? Is it solo? Is it just you talking about something? Do you have a co-host? Are two of you talking about a topic? Is it long format? The Tim Ferriss show, I just mentioned that in the previous listener email. Tim Ferriss show is long format. This dude goes 1, 2, 3 hours sometimes talking to people. Or is it short format? Is it like 2, 3, 4, 5-minute bites? That's real popular right now with these smart home devices, these like Alexas and stuff. There's a lot of podcasts and shows that have these little teeny bites, just a few minutes long. So figure out what style is going to work best for your end goal. The next, know your audience, know your target audience. So this is your avatar or your niche. you really want to get to know them. Who are you speaking to? You got to have an idea as to who you're speaking to. And, no matter what it is that you're doing, whether it's a blog or a podcast or a vlog, I always recommend pretend like you're speaking to one person. And so who is that one person? And so when I had my agency and I would work with new clients, we would do this visualization exercise where I'd sit down and I'd say, okay, imagine you're at a coffee shop and your ideal customer walks in the door. And you look over and you see them walk in the door. Describe them. And you go through the physical attributes. And then talk about what is a day in their life like? What do they do? What are their challenges? Right? What keeps them up at night? What frustrates them to no end? What is their current state, where they're at right now, and what's their desired state? Where would they like to be? You really want to get to know your ideal customer, your ideal listener, and know them better than they know themselves. And one cool thing is if you were to write a journal entry about a day in their life, write a journal entry better than they could write about themselves. If you can get that level of depth and understanding in your target audience, then you're really going to be able to create some magical things. And, that might take time, but you want to start out by having a general understanding of who they are, what challenges them, what are their pain points, what are their biggest fears, what are their desires, what do they need, what do they want, all of that great stuff. So you really want to know your target audience. Next is know your UVP, your unique value proposition. That's that unique thing that you bring to the table, your unique solution, your unique message, right? What is it that makes you unique? That's going to make your video blog unique. That's going to make your podcast unique, because there are millions and millions of blogs out there. There are millions and millions of YouTube channels out there. And right now there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts. So what the hell is going to make yours stand out? Besides just you. That's a given. I bring an energy that only I can bring to my podcast. But, what is it that makes me stand out from other people? One of the things that I always committed to from day one was I'm going to go so damn vulnerable. I'm going to share so much depth in this show that's going to blow people's socks off. They're going to be like, what? I can't believe that he's talking about that. I can't believe, he's in my head. He is saying the things that I'm thinking. He's describing the situations that I'm going through right now. And I can't tell you how many of you have reached out to me with that exact statement. You must be in my head. And that was something that I said, I'm going to be unique. And then I also said, you know what? And I realized this a few years down the road. I was like, there's some big players in this space, this personal development podcast space, like Lewis Howes. He's always one that I bring up. He's got millions upon millions of downloads, probably monthly. And he gets tons of people on his Instagram sending him messages. And I thought, I have the people who send me messages, it's awesome. And I receive an abundance of them. And I recognize that one of my advantages is that I can reply to every single one. A guy like Lewis Howes, he's just got too many messages coming into his inbox to be able to reply to them all. But I can reply to every single one. That's a competitive advantage that I have. And so that's what I do. And I ask you all to reach out to me because I want to build those connections. And I reply to every single one. And so that's what you want to do. You understand what makes you unique. And if you think about the one-page business plan, like I was talking about earlier with, let me just scroll up real quick, with Courtney, then one of the things in the one-page business plan template that I shared with you talks about, it's business booster. It's what's a competitive advantage that you have over anybody else. So that's something that you want to think about when it comes to creating your vlog or your podcast or your blog. The next thing after that, now you can start developing your topics. And so go back to your avatar or your niche or your target audience and develop some topics around some of their biggest pain points. If you can pick their 5 biggest pain points, you can probably develop a ton of topics off of just those 5 pain points. And that's going to at least get you started and get you flowing. And now at that point, you're ready to start recording. You know who you're talking to, you know your unique message, you know a topic that you're going to dig into, and you know the format of your show. Start recording. All right? So this is where you get the equipment that you need. If you're doing a video blog, then you got to make sure you've got a decent camera. It doesn't have to be amazing, but you also don't want it to be crummy. And, any smartphone that's 1 to 2 years old has got a pretty decent camera in it. So, invest the $500, $600, whatever it costs. You also might want to get a mic, some sort of decent mic. It doesn't have to be amazing, but, I don't want to barely hear you or hear the echo of the room. Like that stuff can be a little distracting. Depends on your audience. If you're doing a podcast, just grab a mic. My mic costs $70. That's the only equipment that I use. A $70 mic. Yep. So start recording and start getting your building up your content. Make sure in each episode you have a clear call to action. I already talked about that. What is it that you want your listener to do or your viewer to do? And you got to tell people, tell them specifically what you want them to do. So have a call to action in every episode. It might be subscribe to my show in iTunes. That's a call to action. It might be email me with your topic ideas. That's a call to action. It might be fill out my coaching application, right? Those are all call to actions. So have a call to action. Maybe it's something like download my free ebook or join the Trust Challenge. I haven't actually shared that call to action in a long time, but everybody here can go and join the Trust Challenge. It's always running, and you can go and jump in. That's a call to action right there. So once you have that and you've been recording things, it's time to develop your launch strategy, because I always recommend you start recording your content and building up a backlog before you actually launch, because you want to launch with a number of pieces of content already completed. So it's time to develop your launch strategy. Figure out how you're going to promote your show. How are you going to get the word out when your YouTube channel launches or when your podcast launches? Who are you going to enroll to help spread the word? Right? There's a lot of different ways you can go into developing your launch strategy, and no two launch strategies are going to be the same, but you're probably going to do things like reach out to your social media, reach out to your email list if you have any. Maybe you might interview people and then get the people that you interview to share the episode with their audience. So it really depends on what your end in mind is, what your goal is. It depends on the medium you chose, if you're doing a video blog or a podcast. But figure out your launch strategy. And have a promotion plan. So after your show launches, after your YouTube channel or your podcast launches, how are you going to be promoting it daily and weekly as you have new content? Right? So you have the launch portion of it, and then you have growth. That's your promo plan. How are you going to grow your show over time? You want to be figuring that out as well, and having a clear plan that you're following. And you have a plan. Maybe it's like, all right, I'm going to be posting on Instagram, 3 times a week with a post, and then 3 times a week I'm going to go live. And then I'm going to do a Facebook Live once a week, and I'm going to send out 10 tweets for every new episode. That might be where you start. And then you do that for 30 days, and you go back and you look at the results, and you see, oh, okay, let me adjust here because that's not working. Or let me do more of this because that seems to be working really well. That's the type of promo plan. And then finally, my last piece of advice is constantly be learning. You want to constantly be learning, especially if this is new for you. You want to have a goal of mastering your craft, right? So become a student. That means get some books. That means sign up for some courses. That means maybe join a mastermind so you can learn from others. Ask a lot of questions. I'm a part of several podcasting Facebook groups, and I drop in there regularly to learn and see what people are doing and to ask questions. And then also to share things that work with me and answer people's questions. And so I'm constantly trying to learn and better myself within the podcasting craft. And that's why I ask you all for feedback. Help me out. Help me get better at this. So you really want to just be a student and constantly be learning. And follow some of the top people in your space. So for you, who are some of the top people doing video blogs? Follow them. I know Casey Neistat. He's one of the most popular dudes out there doing video blogs. So study him. What's working for him? What are the things that he's doing now that he wasn't doing a while ago? Right? Like I became a student of podcasts. I was a consumer before I had my own shows. But then after I had my show, I just became a student. And so that meant when I'm listening to a podcast, even if it's just an entertainment show that I'm just listening for fun during my commute, I'm studying how they do their intro. I'm studying like how they're splicing in their music with their voiceover. I'm studying, how long the music fades out before the episode begins. I'm studying where they put their commercial spots. I'm studying how the host or the hosts are introducing different segments. I'm studying how they do their calls to action. You become a student of all that stuff, and that's how you continue to learn. So, this was awesome. Thank you so much for asking the question about video blogging and content creation. And if you can't tell, I love this stuff. I have taught digital marketing and content creation classes here in Atlanta just because I love it. And if anybody else wants more information like this, let me know. If there's enough interest, I'll do a webinar where I talk about podcasting and I break down some of this stuff more. Because that's what I was doing before being a balanced lifestyle coach. I was doing that type of work, helping organizations launch, grow, and monetize podcasts. And I love it. So if anybody is interested and want to dig into this more, just hit me up. DM me on Instagram, email me, and we can have a conversation about it. So, thank you once again. And big thanks to everybody who submitted questions and topics for today's episode. So Zach, thank you so much. Courtney, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this three-parter talking about self, others, and life and answering your questions. And I will definitely be doing this again because it's fun. These are great questions. And I know that if one person has them, then so many other people have these questions. And I like doing it in this format where I answer a couple of them per episode. That way I'm able to address a lot of them. And give me some feedback. If you like this format, let me know. If you prefer that I just do one question or topic per episode, that's what I have done in the past. If you prefer that, let me know. Share with me your feedback. You can email me at mattcbivens@gmail.com, or you can message me, Matthew_Bivens on Instagram. So let me know. So that's one of my calls to action. And another one, I'm gonna put this out there again. I have that coaching spot available, and if working one-on-one with a balanced lifestyle coach has been something that's kind of been percolating in your mind, this might be the time to connect with me. And one of the things that I love doing and the things that I bring to the table with people I work with is I help you hit the escape button. ESC. If you look in your keyboard right now, there's an escape button, ESC, and that means I bring my energy. I bring energy. So as soon as we jump on our calls, you're uplifted immediately because of where I'm humming at in my energy field. And that's just a result of a lot of reps, making sure that I'm keeping my PC high so my PC can match my P. And then I'm also bringing S. I'm bringing my stories. That's the result of years and years and years of doing this on myself, of applying everything that I'm sharing to you times 10 on myself. And I'm bringing the stories of when it works and when it hasn't worked. And I bring in the insights that I've gained. And I'm bringing all the things that I've evolved and learned along the way, all my transformation. And then C stands for conversation. We get into super high-level conversation. And we go real deep, very fast. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I've sat in coaching and mentorship for years. And I've sat there and I've received and surrendered to healthy feedback for years. And I've allowed my ego to be humbled and let go of this whole thing of what I know, quote unquote. And so because I've sat in that for myself, I can bring those powerful conversations to you. And so that's what I help the people I work with do. Hit that escape button. Boop. So if you feel like you need to hit the escape button on the restraining forces that are holding you back from experiencing life the way that you want to, then take advantage. Go to matthewbivens.com. On the top, you'll see Work With Me. You can click there and fill out the application, or you can just shoot me a message on Instagram, Matthew_Bivens, or just hit me up on email, mattcbivens@gmail.com, and we can jump into a conversation. And that is my final call to action for this episode. And thank you all for hanging out with me today. This has been truly amazing and awesome and beautiful. And I'm excited. I love it. I love these conversations. Having it all. What else is there? What else is there to play for than an abundant, loving life? Yeah. So with that, my name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you continuing to have it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.
Every minute your finance team spends wrestling with data is a minute lost. Insight Software's AI-powered insights instantly move you from complexity to clarity. Automated analysis, real-time reporting, strategic recommendations, all at your fingertips. Transform how your finance team works and watch your business grow. Stop wasting time. Start making smarter decisions. Learn more at insightsoftware.com/AI.